Greetings everyone, Craig Hester here with R2AWatches.com, and thank you for joining us as we continue on our journey through all the watches and accessories that are available at R2AWatches.com. Hey, if you're watching this on YouTube, be sure and hit like and subscribe and ring that bell so you get the early notifications when we post up a new video. If you're watching this on Facebook, you want to join the group Vostok Europe Timepieces. It is the absolute best place to find out what's going on with all the watches at R2AWatches.com. Don't let the name fool you. It's not just about Vostok Europe. We talk about Stramansky, we talk about Pramsius, we talk about Secolia, all the other brands that we have at R2A Watches are in that group. It is a fantastic group of guys and gals who love just to talk about our watches and share photos and have a great time. So anyway, be sure and do that. Today, we are talking about one of my favorite, if not favorite, Vostok Europe watches. That is the Energia line, or Energia. Well, as you all know, I'm terrible at pronunciations, but so we're going to go with the Americanized Energia when we're talking about this line. This is just such an amazing watch in so many different ways. And what we're talking about today is the brand new Mecha-Quartz version chronograph of the Energia. And this is something we've been waiting for quite a while. When Vostok Europe first let me back up. If you're not familiar with Vostok Europe is a boutique watch brand based in Vilnius, Lithuania. Every watch is hand assembled there and goes through a 28-point inspection process before going out the door to their 33 distributors around the world. I like to say that they start with a blank piece of paper, or more accurately, a blank computer screen, and they finish with a completed watch. For their size, for a watch brand that sells about 30,000 watches a year, it is phenomenal the number of things that Vostok Europe does. They really do a lot that you would expect only from much larger watch brands, and not the least of which, like I said, they have their own in-house designers, they have their own in-house watchmakers. It is really a turnkey operation. Basically, they don't have an in-house movement, but other than that, they're you could put them up there with other manufacturers that are much larger. The other thing about Vostok Europe is every Vostok Europe has a story. Every watch has a story in terms of an inspiration story, and that's used to build the watch around. And one of the things that I really like about Vostok Europe is they don't build a watch and then slap a name on it. They start with the inspiration and they build the watch around the inspiration, which a lot of brands don't do that. So in this case, it is the Energia rocket, which was the world's largest rocket system. It's a rocket system that put the space shuttle, was called the wherein, put the Russian space shuttle into space and carried the wherein space shuttle. It is a massive system. So it's not surprising that the Energia is one of the largest watches in the Vostok Europe lineup. Now, I'm going to pull out my notes here and make sure that I get everything exactly right, because I have found that I sometimes relying on my memory is not necessarily the best thing. So I'm getting a little bit more understanding of maybe my age and making sure that I have some notes about what's going on so I don't get anything incorrect. This is a 48 millimeter timepiece, and it is 17 millimeters thick. Now, one of the things I do like to do is just show you guys that, double checking with my handy dandy caliper here. And there we go. Well, it's a little more than 48. It depends on the kind of the angle you put it at here. We would say this is 48.5 when I'm using the caliper, and then almost 17 thick. So this is a big timepiece by anybody's definition. Well, I guess not anybody's. There are some people who would consider 48 millimeter to not be a very big watch. I'm not one of those people. 48 millimeter is a pretty darn big watch, and so it makes sense that its inspiration was the world's largest rocket system, or rocket launch system. So there's a natural fit between the name and the size of the watch, but not just the size of the watch. The way it's shaped. The actual shape here was inspired by the shape of the rocket itself, and so forth. So let me quickly go through the other specs of the watch. I'm going to show you that there are 3 versions of the new Mecha-Quartz. That means this is a chronograph. This is a quartz chronograph, but it is, the reason it's called a Mecha-Quartz chronograph is it is a hybrid movement that has most of the watch is run by what you would consider a standard quartz movement, but then there is a module in there for the chronograph that's actually mechanical. So it has a mechanical chronograph module. I'm going to come back to that a little bit more detail later, but just real quick, I want to show you have the what I would call charcoal gray as one of the executions. Then we have the black and yellow, a bumblebee look, which is just so cool on the black PVD, especially with the highlights of the tone of the yellow gold against the black PVD, where they have the highlights in there. That is just fantastic. And then the piece de resistance, the blue, that beautiful blue sunray with the deep etch sunray on the dial, and your rose tone. So those are your three styles. Now, some of the other features of this watch. This is a true professional grade dive watch. It is a 300-meter watch. Professional grade dive watches start at 200 meters and up, or 20 ATM. So this is 100 ATM more than is required for it to be a dive watch. One of the other things that makes a watch a dive watch is it has to have a unidirectional rotating bezel, and in this case it does. A very tight, very well done unidirectional rotating bezel. Now, why does it rotate one direction? That's because this is to be used for measuring elapsed time. And the last thing you'd want to have happen if you're diving and you know you can only be down for 20 minutes, let's say, or you'll run out of oxygen, the last thing you want is to bump the thing and have it add time, and suddenly you're down 22 minutes, and that 2 minutes could be the difference between life and death, literally. The only thing you can do if you bump the bezel when you're using a unidirectional rotating bezel is reduce the amount of time that you would be down. You can't increase it, so that's why it's unidirectional. This watch actually has a helium release valve. It's an automatic helium release valve. Now, there's only a handful of people in the world that's probably going to really make a difference for, because this is really something that would be intended for deep saturation diving, which most people don't do. But it is there, and it is a sign of the quality of the construction. That's one of the things I like to say, too, about something being 300 meter. They test every one of these before they leave Vilnius. In fact, you'll get a little sheet that's actually a printout from the testing station in Vilnius that will come with your watch. That will have the number, the limited edition number on it for your watch. In order to pass that test, you have to have an extremely well-built watch. The seals have to be great. The rings have to be great. Everything about the watch has to be 100% rock solid for it to pass 300-meter water-resistant test. So it's not just about, even if you're never going to be a diver, let's say you're never going to take this watch into deep water, you do know just by having the 300-meter that it passed a 300-meter test, you've got a high-quality construction. So I'm going to stop now. I'm going to go now and talk a little bit about this movement, the Mecha-Quartz. The thing that makes this again different is you've got the module you've got the main module, which is your quartz movement, which gives you that, of course, hyper accurate timing that you can only get from quartz. You can't get from mechanical. And then there is a mechanical module in the watch for the chronograph. So as you see, when I start the chronograph here, it doesn't have that telltale tick that you would normally see in a quartz. There's a little, it's not as smooth as a typical automatic, but it is definitely much smoother than your typical quartz chronographs secondhand. Now, when I stop this, what you want to notice is it flies back instantly. Okay. If you're looking at other quartz, hey, hand me one of those, the gas limo chronographs. So I want to show you guys. I want to give you a comparison here. So this is the 6S21 in the gas limo. By the way, to be clear, the Miyota 6S21 is also a hybrid quartz movement, and it is one of the best quartz chronograph movements made. But it doesn't fly back. And what I want to show you, you start the chronograph. Now you can see on the 6S21 that it's sweeping like the other one did. But when I stop and reset, it does that slow climb back to 12. And that's how most quartz chronographs work. That makes it where if you want to instantly start timing something else, those few seconds that it takes to come back around can make that difficult to do. Whereas with the VK61, you start the chronograph. I'm going to let it go around a little bit. Okay, I'm going to get up to just 10 seconds here. And when you stop it, then you can reset, boom. And then you could start timing something else almost instantly. That is one of the things, one of the advantages that you get out of the fact that this has the Mecha-Quartz module, the mechanical module for the chronograph. All right, some of the other features in this watch, that's enough about the movement for now. Well, first of all, like all of the big divers of Vostok Europe, it comes with at least 2 straps. In this case, it's going to be this beautiful vegetable tan, handmade Italian leather strap. And then it's going to come with the softest silicone you've ever felt. Just amazing, amazing silicone straps that come with these. Here's the actual one in the vegetable tan leather that would come with the rose. It's just amazing. So those are going to come automatically. It is also available. It's available to come in a version with a bracelet. Now, just to be clear, this bracelet still has all the protective material on it, so that's why it kind of looks a little fuzzy there. It's there's nothing wrong with it. It's just got the same. We're leaving the protective material on it so we don't scratch it up. But you'll get the idea. It is. I mean, this bracelet's unbelievable. This bracelet to me looks like somebody reached into an engine and just pulled a part out. Some kind of chain or drive or whatever, and it's just an amazing bracelet. It is heavy duty. If you like big watches with a lot of heft and a lot of beef, you will really, really like this on the bracelet. The other thing about the Vostok Europe Energia is it comes in the 4-watch holder. When you get the watch, it's going to be set up not like this. When you get the watch, it's going to be set up for the watch itself, but then you can convert it to hold 4 watches like this. It's original. It's all in there. It's originally set up to be where the watch is going to be stored, where the place for the straps and so forth. But then you can take these secret hidden compartments out, and you can change this to a 4-watch holder. These cases are made in the same facility that Pelican cases are made in. So you're really getting a fantastic packaging. I just noticed, I mentioned this earlier, I just noticed that I happen to have, let me show you. This is one of the watches here showing that it passed the 300-meter water resistance test. And again, it's marked with the limited edition number. So how cool is that? When you get that, you know that your watch has passed that. All right, the other big feature of the Energia is the Tritium Tube technology. Now, if you're not familiar with Tritium Tube technology, Tritium tubes are laser-sealed glass tubes that are filled with a substance called tritium. That substance has a 12.5-year half-life. It activates the luminous material, typical luminous material. It activates it inside the laser sealed tube, so you get constant illumination. You could take this watch. Now, you know, with most watches, like the one I'm wearing, this is the Task Force Marauder. It has standard lume. I can light that up under the light. As soon as the light turns off, it's going to be super bright, but it's only going to last an hour or 2 at most. The Tritium Tube technology, you can throw this in a drawer and for months, years, you take it out and it's going to have the same luminosity that it had when you put it in there. I'm going to quickly show you guys a wrist shot. No, I'm not going to quickly do it because it's not going to cooperate. I'm going to do it really slowly and annoyingly. That's good enough. And here's how it looks on the wrist. Now, I have about a 7.5-inch wrist. I do not have a big wrist, but I can wear the Energia comfortably. And in fact, I own more than one Energia. They are a prized part of my collection. One of the things that Vostok Europe likes to do is they like to come up with innovative ways for their tritium tubes. In the Energia, one of what they did, if you look here, this is actually a dial from another Energia. You can see these V-shaped reflectors, and the tritium tube actually sits inside these V-shaped reflectors. That allows for the light to bounce off of both sides of that to give you more of the light from the tritium tubes being directed up and away from the dial, which is what you want to get the maximum illumination. So, all right, I'm going to wind up here, guys. I'm going to just quickly show you again. We've got the light gray, the bumblebee, and the black and yellow, the classic rose with the blue, which is just so phenomenally beautiful. These are the Mecha-Quartz Energias from Vostok Europe. Trying to think if I've left anything out. They do have the K1 mineral crystal system. That's the 7 on the Mohs scale to put you right between sapphire and mineral. It is a screw-in. Is this a screw-in crown on these? Yes. It's a screw-in crown. It is a screw-in case back, actually screwed in with screws, not this kind of screwed-in case back. We got a beautiful imagery of the Energia rocket on the back. 30 ATM, Tritium Tube technology. There's just so much going on in this watch. I could talk about it all day. I love the Energia from Vostok Europe. So there you have it. That is the new Mecha-Quartz Energia from Vostok Europe. And until next time, keep watching.